Hello, students. Good morning, all of you. Today, I, Rabindra Mohan Misra, from Sri Jagdamba Sanskrit College, Batho, am taking the class of Shastri II. We are revising our syllabus because our examination is very near. Yesterday, we have seen character sketch of Portia. Today, we see character sketch of Shylock. Shylock is one of the best known characters in the entire range of Shakespearean drama. He is also a controversial character. Some critics and readers regard him as a true villain, while others believe that in spite of his villainy, he deserves some sympathy also. It is necessary for us, therefore, to assess this man's character impartially. He certainly has his hateful traits of character, and he certainly deserves to be called a villain. But we still feel some sympathy for him because, in our opinion, he is not only a wrongdoer but also a victim of wrongdoing by others. By profession, Shylock is moneylender. Money lending by itself is not something shameful or discreditable or disregarding or even objectionable. However, money lending becomes something odious and abhorrent if a money lender becomes an exploiter by charging excessive rates of interest. Shylock is a money lender who tries to enrich himself and to accumulate wealth by exploiting the financial needs of others. One reason why he hates Antonio is that Antonio lends money to needy persons without charging any interest at all, and Antonio thus brings down the rate of interest in Venice. Shylock has already hoarded a lot of wealth by his usury, but his carving for money is not satisfied. This makes him a contemptible person in the play. In this respect, he is a typical Jew because the Jews have traditionally been regarded as users. Shylock repels us not only by his usury but also by his religious intolerance. He hates Christians and he hates them fiercely. He says in an aside that he hates Antonio firstly because Antonio is a Christian and secondly because Antonio brings down the rate of interest in Venice by lending money gratis. As a Jew, Shylock does not eat pork and he would not therefore like to join the Christians at a dinner where pork is to be served as one of the dishes. Shylock makes pork eating one of the grounds for his hatred of Christians who are pork eaters. In one of his speeches, he refers to the biblical story of the manner in which Christian had lured the devil to enter into the body of a pig. Eventually, Shylock does agree to attend a Christian dinner, and his reason for attending it further lowers him in our estimation. He would like to eat at the expense of the Christians who are extravagant and who spend money needlessly. By eating a meal at the expense of the Christians, he can save a little money at home, and this is the height of miserliness and meanness. The Jews are traditionally regarded as misers, though such is not longer the case in our times. Lancelot Go refers to Shylock miserliness when he says that in the Jews' service he is famished. And yet Shylock says to Lancelot that the latter would not enjoy those facilities in Bassanio service which he is enjoying here in the Jews' house. We feel really amused to find that although Shylock is a big miser, he thinks himself to be very generous also. Shylock is a deceitful and crafty man. At first, he expresses his unwillingness to give a loan to Antonio on the ground that Antonio had been ill treating him. However, an altogether different idea takes shape in his mind. He then agrees to give the loan, but he lays down the condition that the bond to be signed should contain a clause according to which he would become entitled to cut off a pound of Antonio's flesh from nearest his heart if Antonio fails to repay the loan within a period of 3 months. If is thus that he lures Antonio into singing the bond, saying at the same time that this clause is intended only as a joke because a pound of human flesh can serve no purpose at all, and because even the flesh of animals like goats and sheep has greater value than human flesh. In other words, Shylock implies cunning to have to bond signed. He treats the bond as a weapon which he might be able to use in case Antonio, by some mischance, is rendered penniless and finds it impossible to repay the loan. In this respect, then, Shylock shows considerable shrewdness and even a capacity of foresee the future. In this matter of the bond and the discussion which takes place between him and the Christians, several facets of Shylock's personality become evident to us. He here shows himself as a cunning, hypocritical, humble, as well as arrogant man. He even cites a biblical incident to justify the charging of interest, though he admits that this incident is not exactly a precedent but only a parallel to prove the validity of charging some kind of fee for the services which one renders to others. He here appears as a distasteful person deserving our dislike and hatred. Shylock is a revengeful and bloodthirsty man. From the very start, he is showing as planning to take his revenge upon Antonio for the latter's ill treatment of him. Antonio's need for a loan serves him as a great opportunity to wreak his vengeance upon him. Subsequently, no appeals from the Duke and the magnificence move him to pity. Even Portia's eloquent plea for mercy fails to have any effect upon him. He feels jubilant when it seems that the verdict of the court would go in his favor, and he begins to exult over Portia's pronouncement in the beginning that he has a very strong case. He bluntly tells the judge that there is no power in the tongue of a man to alter his resolve to take a pound of flesh. He simply invokes the law which entitles him to the penalty and the forfeit of his bond, and he clings to the position he has taken up. Shylock has a suspicious nature and does not trust anyone. He cannot trust either his servant or his daughter, although his suspicious nature is no merit in him. Yet we must admit that he is fully justified in his suspicious suspicions. His servant detests him, and so does his daughter. While the servant merely leaves his service, his daughter goes to the extent of running away from home with a Christian and stealing a considerable amount of his money and his jewels. Even though, in short, we conclude that Shylock is a villain. He does have a couple of redeeming qualities. He is a champion of his race. He speaks eloquently and convincingly about the injustice which the Jew has always suffered at the hands of the Christians. He offers a forceful plea on behalf of the Jews in many speeches. His character is distinguished by an intellectual force and vigor which are praiseworthy. It is in view of these good qualities in him that he wins our sympathy when he is cruelly treated at the end. Thanks. Good night. Have a nice day.